yesterday we had Michael Wllbon on the program. And what he said it twice on this show. He said it on ESPN as well. But it just really has gotten me to thinking, certainly in the fact that when he said that he says that Matt Nagy didn't want to coach Mitchell Trubisky. And this is a guy that won Coach of the Year because he was able to coach Mitchell Trubisky to such an effect in just 1 year's time that it was worthy of the award. I mean, I don't think there was any question Matt Nagy was the Coach of the Year that year, right? And it kind of gave me pause. Certainly now also, to bring it up here, in light of the fact that I do believe a town in which Mo Green has no plaque, signpost, or statue, a town in which the Rich Eisen Show is on Raider Nation Radio, 9:20 a.m., Las Vegas, Nevada.
Shout out.
I do believe, I read this article, I don't condone this sort of behavior, that the people who do sort of place, one would say, chances on things happening and asking people if they care to part with hard-earned wages to decide whether one chance is better than the other of happening.
Spit it out.
I do believe that the Bears' Super Bowl odds went up after signing Andy Dalton yesterday.
I didn't get to that yesterday because I wanted to mention it. The Bears were 40-1 to win the Super Bowl. Sign Andy Dalton, 50-1.
That's not the way free agency is supposed to work. Usually you sign somebody, it makes people think, no, I could see how that can work out.
Right.
It's not like, nope.
That made me laugh. Not going to lie. That made me laugh.
I saw that and I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
Nobody believes in Andy Dalton.
Zero.
So to say, here's Andy to the fan base that says, okay, no Mitchell Trubisky, now what do you got? Roll it. This is what Wilbon had to say.
I've had Kansas City Chiefs players tell me to my face, and I'm not going to name them. These were off-the-record conversations. I probably shouldn't be mentioning it. 2 years ago, when the Super Bowl, that they knew that he didn't want to coach. He didn't want to coach him. It's not a secret. When I say didn't want to coach him, he had Patrick Mahomes as a red shirt. That's not the same skill set as coming to coach Trubisky. And everybody knows it. When I say it's an open secret, they're former Bears. And I don't mean just guys from '85. I mean they're recent former Bears who I run into and they go, dude, he doesn't want to coach this guy. He wants somebody with a different skill set.
Yeah. And I sat there and I thought to myself about this. So the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl. It was the year, not that Nagy won Coach of the Year. It was the year after that where they took a step back. And they seemed to change the way in which they were playing. They didn't rely on Trubisky's feet as much, and he totally regressed, and maybe the personnel changed, and maybe in that year he just decided, first year was magic, and second year, I can't coach this guy anymore. Right? And then they get Foles to push him, and then we are where we are, which is Dalton. And I sat there and I thought to myself, if I'm an owner of a team and I don't know this, it's my fault. Now, if I'm an owner of a team, I would want to know what Michael Wllbon is saying is an open secret amongst players from the team that I hired my coach and from players that are in my Legends community. If that's an open secret, I would sure want to know that. And, George McCaskey is very hands-off, which is what I would also want to be as an owner. I would want to find the person, man or woman, who can run a team and know a personnel department and know what personnel matches the coach as well as my fan bases and my organization's philosophy. I'd want to put that all together and I'd want to back off, but I sure would want to know what everybody's saying about my general manager and my coach and the quarterback. So I sat there and I thought this. Honestly, this is the stuff I think about when I go home sometimes and ignore my children.
The best dad ever.
But honestly, I thought about this also on the way to work today. That maybe does Jerry Jones have it right? Because he knows. He would know. He would know about an open secret because he's locked in.
Well, he's there all the time.
I know that, but he's also involved with the roster building.
Well,
he's also involved calling other general managers. Like he's in the jet stream. He would know. Okay? Like he definitely knew what some of the unnamed players were saying about Mike Nolan, even probably before what Jane Slater reported from NFL Network.
I would think so.
So he knows that, which leads now, let's go get Dan Quinn. But we can't fire someone in the middle of the season. We're not going to change it in the middle of the season.
Right.
But he's also can't see forest from trees because he's too involved in it. And so you also don't want to have somebody that's in your ear saying what you need to know if that person is the wrong person, like, say, maybe Jack Easterby. Do you see what I'm getting here? Like,
sure.
So I'm sitting here wondering, like, what owners would know what's going on and also be hands off enough? Like, that's the good stuff here. That's the sweet spot here. Like, how do you run it back with Ryan Pace after he's already botched the Trubisky decision from the get-go and it was obvious 2 years in? You did the right thing to get the right coach to turn him around, but a year later, it's your coach is already telling players on his former team that they already know he doesn't want to coach Mitchell Trubisky? And then he changes some sort of philosophy of the way he does it with him because after a successful year, it falls off and he's decided, I can't do this with this guy anymore. Let's bring in Nick Foles. And then, wouldn't you want to know this before you run it back with your GM and your coach again? And how do you go about doing that? It is such a tenuous thing to win in this league, to find the Brett Veach, to find the Jason Light, to find the Les Snead, to find your, Steve Keim, who adds Rodney Hudson yesterday. I mean, it's so tough to find the right person and to know what you need to know. As I'm a coach, I want to know it's an open secret. My coach doesn't want to coach the guy who I've hired him to fix and he wins coach of the year and he's telling everyone a year later I don't want to coach him anymore. And then the general manager who made the decision that this sets off all these dominoes, I'm going to keep him to now figure out what to do next.
Yeah, he's still there.
And the answer is Andy Dalton.
Right.
And I understand you want to be hands-off, but you got to be a little bit more hands-on, don't you think? And how do you do that? What do you do? And I'm honestly, I think of some owners, because, Kraft is hands-off, and in Bill you trust, so you got to throw him out, right?
Right.
Because he's found the right guy. And I thought I liked Steve Bisciotti in Baltimore.
I think David Tepper is that guy kind of now.
Well, I guess he would probably know what's going on in his organization.
He seems to be around a lot.
If you're the owner, wouldn't you want to call the coach and the general manager in like all the time? But you also have to let them do what they want to do. It's such a fine line, and that's what I kept thinking about with this Michael Wllbon soundbite from yesterday. Bisciotti, hires Ozzie, and Ozzie, you do your thing, but he damn well knows about what the open secrets are. I bet. John Mara, the Giants,
Not Woody Johnson.
Clear, but he
was
his
been
brother,
gone.
I mean, he clearly was onto something other than football.
Right.
Man, if I'm an owner of an NFL team, I would want to know, and it would drive me crazy. It would drive me nuts.
Yeah.
If that happened. You know what I'm saying? And it's so tough to get right. It is so tough to get right. Hey, you watched all the way to the end. Thanks for that. Watch more right here.